I'm Jeff Wimmer from Studio Cycles, and this is the 411 on buying a second or third generation Star Trac Spinner NXT. There are 3 generations of Spinner NXTs made by Star Trac. The first and second generations, on the down tube, instead of it saying spinning, it'll say Spinner and NXT. The first generation, there's a separate video on YouTube about first generation NXTs. I suggest you watch that if you're considering buying an NXT, and it does say Spinner NXT on the down tube. That'll say Spinner in black letters, and it'll have little red letters at the tip that say NXT. Caveat emptor, as they say on first generation NXTs. Do your homework on that bike no matter what the price. Second generation NXTs, it'll also say Spinner and NXT, but on the non-drive side, around the bottom bracket bearing, there'll be a very visible black ring, and that indicates on the second generation NXT that the bottom bracket issue has been corrected, and they've implemented a steel sleeve through the frame to prevent the bearings from boring out the bearing ports and the entire bottom bracket floating inside the bike. Second generation NXTs typically are going to be 4 to 5 years old, and typically a 4 to 5 year old NXT should be carefully scrutinized in terms of how it rides, how it feels, the amount of oxidization and paint deformity and irregularity in the bike, which will indicate a lot of sweat and very little detailing. If an NXT has been built in typical fashion, which is pull it out of the box and put it together like an end table from IKEA, you're going to find things like the levelers on the bottom of the bike where you level the bike on an uneven floor will be seized. You won't be able to turn them. You'll find on the second, even third generation NXTs, the chain guard hardware that holds the chain guard on, the 3mm Allen screws, will be seized inside the bike. So if the chain falls off or you ever have to do any work internally on the bike, you can't get the hardware out of the chain guard to get the chain guard off to work on the bike on the inside. Third generation NXTs, by the way, second generation NXTs, there was a transition period from first to second where they went from a porous handlebar coating to a smooth non-slip coating. The porous coating was non-slip, but the problem with the first generation NXT handlebars with that extra porous coating is that it absorbed a lot of sweat, a lot of germs, and it became discolored and kind of white and grayish color. Somewhere in the process of the second generation bikes evolving from the factory, they transitioned to this smooth coating which doesn't absorb sweat but still provides a non-slip grip. Third generation NXTs is when they went to, in the graphics on the down tube, they went from it saying Spinner NXT in the NXT in red to saying spinning with the Circle R trademark at the end. And they put the NXT on the seat tube at the bottom of the spinner here. That's an indicator of a third generation NXT. There's a lot of first and second generation NXTs for sale cheap on Craigslist, on Backpage, particularly on eBay, in the $400 to $500 range. No matter how attractive the price, if a first or second generation bike, if they can't tell you in no certain, just completely certain terms that the bike's been completely torn apart and rebuilt from the inside out, and they give you a meaningful warranty, 1, 2, 3 years or more, stay away from it because it will be a nightmare if it fails or it needs repair. My certified pre-owned NXTs, first and second generation, even my third generation NXTs, we tear them completely down to the frame, go through them completely from the inside out. And for residential buyers on our certified pre-owned NXTs, we do a lifetime warranty, lifetime parts replacement. And on our certified pre-owned NXTs for commercial facilities, we do a brand new bike warranty, which is 3 years parts, 5 years frame. Check out more helpful bike buyer aid videos in our free buyer aid video library at studiocycles.com.